Hi, the amount of times that I have been tagged in this marker video to try it out is insane. People want to know what is going on in this video. So I bought it, along with so many more unhinged art supplies that went absolutely viral. All right, this very first art supply has 17 million views. This is a cracking medium that whenever you pour really heavily onto your painting, it gives it this like really cool cracked antique look. And on top of that, the artist ends up putting like a glaze in between the cracks. And whenever it dries, it gives this just like really cool, elevated, antique look to your painting. I want to try this out so bad. All right, so for this specific unhinged technique, I wanted to use the exact same art supply as they did in the video. And girl, when I tell you that this art supply was hard to find, I had to go travel the Sahara Desert, climb Mount Everest, swim to the Mariana Trench, go through the deepest, darkest catacombs in Paris, just to find this exact product. And this is the Joe Sanja Fine Artist Crackle Medium. For this technique, I would say that the setup is pretty primal. All I have is my acrylic painting of Barbie that I previously did, and I had it on a canvas with a plastic bag. So I'm gonna try to put the exact same amount as the TikToker used, which was actually quite a lot. And I'm just gonna spread it out with a credit card. According to the directions, the more crackle medium that you apply, the more crackly it's gonna be. So I think that's why the artist puts on a lot of this stuff. And now this brings me to the second step, pop the bubbles on the painting. So I'm just gonna get an X-Acto knife and pop it away.
Fly high, little guy, and I'll see you tomorrow.
I don't think you're ready for this jelly. I don't think you're ready for this painting. Here it is in all its Barbie crackalicious glory. The cracks didn't come out as big as I would have liked them to, but it's still a whole lot of cracks. And it's really weird because whenever you feel the painting, you'd think it would be all flaky and crusty from the cracks. But whenever you drag your hand across it, it's oddly smooth. But yeah, I'm actually really impressed with this crackle medium. It's a really easy way to add an extra element to the painting to make it look more visually interesting. And as you guys saw, it's super easy to do. All right, this very next art supply, it has my entire heart and soul. This is a ring that is a watercolor palette, and it's just like the cutest, tiniest little watercolor palette that I have ever seen. You can buy it off Etsy, it's handmade, and as you guys know, I love tiny things, and I'm so excited to try it out. Okay. I am so excited for this. I don't think you guys understand. It's been a while since I've been able to unwrap something this tiny. I think the last tiny thing I got to mess with was when I tried out the world's tiniest coloring book. Look how cute though. It's so small. My heart. Ah! And I got a total kick out of that. So I can't wait to open this. Okay, here we go. Ah, look at it. Oh, it's so small. Look at it. She's so small. She's absolutely beautiful. Can you imagine proposing to somebody with this? I love you so much. Will you marry me? And speaking of proposals, there is something that I wanted to share with you guys. The reason I haven't been uploading as much frequently is because, one, as you can see, I've moved to a whole entire new place. The second thing is I had a medical procedure done, and that took a little while. And the third thing of why I haven't been uploading, I got married. Yeah, I have a husband now. So yeah, I'm sorry I haven't been able to upload, but I promise it's all been really good things. Now let's take a look at this ring because I am absolutely obsessed. I think it is so cool. It is so creative. And surprisingly, it looks like there's a lot of different colors inside of this. I'm very happy to announce that these watercolors are not bad quality, but because it's so small, I'm having trouble keeping all the colors separately and not running together because they're just so densely packed. But then again, that happens with pretty much any watercolor that you use. But this is a really fun, unique idea. Like, shout out, I'm gonna put the Etsy user right here. Like, shout out to them. And I think this is not unhinged at all. I think this is very creative. Next up, do you guys remember blow pens from the 90s and the early 2000s?
Take the pen, felt tip first, and put it into the jet tube. Add the cap, then just aim and blow. It's so cool. Like magic, it changes color right before your eyes.
Nowadays, according to TikTok, this whole entire time, you could have made blow pens on your own using only a marker and a straw, and it works almost completely identical. So I have all the items here with me. It's only two markers and a pen that I just took off the top too.
Hi, editing me here. Now that I'm rewatching the footage, I'm like, girl, why are you using a plastic broken
pen. You could just use a straw. What are we doing here? By the way, I saw in the comments that it's not good to be breathing in all the Sharpie fumes. So that's why I am using good and trusty Crayola markers. And I'm pretty sure all you do is hold the marker like right at the tip of the straw. And I think it should work. Oh, it's working. Ugh, I'm getting a little lightheaded from doing that. Dude, this is working so well. But unlike blow pens, you don't have much control over the marker and where it's gonna blow all over. So some spots you can clearly tell where I put way more marker than others. But I think this is fun, especially if you're gonna do it only a couple of times and you don't wanna have to like waste money on buying an airbrush set. This works perfectly good. It is a little unhinged, but I like it. Next up, if you've ever wanted to try out the exact same art supplies as the great Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, and Rembrandt, you, my friend, are gonna need one of these. These went super viral a while back. It's a regular pencil, except the wood part is sharpened all the way down. And the reason the great masters of art would use this tool is because it would make the pencil a lot more sensitive to the paper. So they would know exactly how much pencil to apply, and the results of it give the most accurate and perfect realistic drawings that you could pretty much get. I've never tried this before, but it's been popular for hundreds of years. So I'm curious to see if it's actually gonna work for me in modern day. Let me tell you, these pencils are not that easy to make. Poor Zach, he made about 6 of them and about half of them broke. But regardless, here it is. Here is my sharpened pencil. This is about 2 inches, but you could go all the way to 4. So in a normal circumstance, if I was doing a regular everyday drawing, I would make a really dark line and then blend it out with my hands. But then this pencil, because it's so sensitive, you have to just slowly build up the values. One single stroke at a time. And I was able to have a lot more control over the shadows because of the pressure applied with this pencil. Just this little tiny square took me about 5 minutes to do. So I'm curious to see what 2 hours is gonna get me with this technique. So here's the drawing. It's of my musical crush slash husband, if I was born in the 60s, George Harrison of the Beatles. And even though the drawing itself came out really good, I don't think I was very successful in doing this technique. And the reason I say that is because this took me about 2 hours to do. And because I was working so fast, it came out a lot sketchier than I would have liked it to. It's not as smooth as I would have wanted. And I think I should have at least doubled the time I let myself do the portrait. But I do have to say, this technique pushed me as an artist. And what I mean by that is usually I'm more focused on the drawing and just trying to make it look nice. But with this technique, you have to be so much more aware of the pencil and have your focus on that more than the actual drawing. And that's not a bad thing. I think every single artist should try this technique at least once in their lifetime because it's just such a unique experience than any other modern day tool that you're gonna get. So yeah, I definitely would love to try this again. Next up, we have a new way to use crayons that I have never seen before. This is how you can paint with crayons. So basically, you get the crayon and press kinda hard whenever you're drawing to release as much wax as possible. You'll then blow dry the wax on the page, making it softer. And once you blend it out, you can get perfectly smooth crayons. Creative but unhinged. Okay, so I have my coloring page here, which I colored off camera. As you can see, I pressed kind of hard. I added a lot of wax to the page. And in theory, this should all melt down and become smooth. So let's see. Oh wow, this hack worked insanely well. If you look at the two in comparison of where it started and where it's at now, it is so much smoother. And the thing is that the hairdryer started melting it immediately. I didn't have to wait for it to warm up. My hand didn't get too hot. It just like immediately melted all the crayons smoothly. And just when I thought I knew like every single way to use a crayon, this way is probably one of the easiest. Next up, we have a video of a car that is completely covered in the darkest paint that is available on the market right now. This video is so trippy to look at because instead of looking at a car, it looks like a black car-shaped void instead. So if you didn't know, Black 3.0 used to be the darkest paint that you could buy, but recently Culture Hustle has released Black 4.0, which is supposedly even darker than its predecessor. All right, so to test this out, of course, I'm gonna compare it to Black 3.0. You guys have seen it a million billion times on this channel at this point. And here is the Black 4.0. The packaging on this paint is totally badass. It's a pure black. There's no other markings on it. And it just looks so much cooler than the Black 3.0. The vibes Black 3.0 are giving me is like fun, nightclub in 2010, out with your friends and they're playing Kesha in the background. But the Black 4.0 is giving me tortured artist, dark academia, 18th century Victorian era. And by the way, when I reviewed Black 3.0, people came for me in the comments because I compared it to a Dollar Tree black paint instead of a better quality one. So this time around, I made sure to get a good quality black paint to compare it to. All right, so let's go ahead and try it out. So first up will be the OG, the original Black 3.0. And here it is compared to the regular Winsor & Newton paint. It's not even a comparison how much darker it is. In fact, it's so dark that it makes the black paint on my desk look like it's almost a gray color. I love it. Ugh, so good. And let's see how the latest and greatest Black 4.0 compares to it, which is supposedly even darker. Yeah, pretty much to the naked eye, they look the exact same in terms of darkness. And they're both so dark, they both look like two little black voids next to each other. But what I did notice is that there's a huge improvement in formula with the Black 4.0. When I was pouring the Black 3.0 into the paint palette, you could see just how chunky and nasty it was. But now, the latest and greatest poured out exactly like a traditional paint. And even when I was using it, I noticed how much more paint-like it is, which therefore makes it much easier to use. So yeah, good job, Hustle. You guys did a good job reformulating this. I already loved it, but now I love it even more. And this brings us to the last absolutely unhinged video. I feel like as far as unhingedness goes, this video is creme de la creme. Out of all the videos that I've talked about today, this video that you're about to see by far has caused the most chaos. The video is of a marker, and as you use the marker, it expands to an overwhelming crazy amount. This marker, it may seem a little bit too good to be true, and that's because it is. I'm sorry to ruin the fun here, but the video is fake. But what isn't fake is the fact that expanding foam markers do exist, and you can layer them up to a crazy degree. And of course, I bought them, and I'm gonna show you guys here live on my channel what an expanding marker actually looks like in reality. So I just got done replicating the video and it looks just like it. I mean, I think it looks absolutely identical, don't you think? So yeah, I'm sorry to break it to you guys, but this is just not real. You guys saw it here first on SuperRaeDizzle's channel. Puffy paints do exist, but they look nothing like the original video. Myth is busted. Well, anyway, guys, that was me trying out the most unhinged art supplies and techniques that I could find. I had an absolute blast making this video. I tried stuff that I've never tried before. If you want to see more videos like this, I have an entire playlist on TikTok art supplies. Or if you want to see me try out non-art supply TikTok items, I have a couple of videos on my second channel that I'll link in the description box down below. And with that being said, guys, thank you so much again for watching. Happy drawing, and I'll see you guys next video. Bye.